Well, hello. I'm Martin Green from UNSW Sydney, and I'm very honoured to have been inducted into the Paws Award Hall of Fame for my work in making solar cells a low cost reality. Um, my work has really had two strands to it, and one of them has been improving the performance of the solar cell, and this is measured by the energy conversion efficiency of the cell, the ratio of the amount of electricity you get out of it for the amount of solar falling onto the cell. So we set our first world record in this area in 1983. And in the 38 years since then, we've held that record for 30 of those 38 years, setting 18 separate world records along the way. And we improved the efficiency by over 50% in relative terms. Well, one of the cell technologies we invented along the way, the PERC cell, PERC cell, has been taken up by industry big time, and it's now the mainstream of the manufacturing industry, accounting for over 90% of worldwide production. So if you've bought a solar panel recently, it's more than likely it's a UNSW PERC technology used in it. The other way we've made our impact is through getting the cells very cheap through the initiatives of our students. So I've now supervised over 120 PhD students during my career, and many of these have gone on to do great things, not only during their thesis, but in their subsequent careers. So one of my best known students is Dr. Zhengrong Shi. He was born in China, but is now an Australian citizen. But he was fired with the ambition after he'd done his PhD and worked with us in one of our spin-off companies. He was fired with the ambition of setting up cell manufacturing in China at the turn of the century, when some of the rules related to private companies there were relaxed. And he did that. I thought he had Buckley's chance of achieving what he was setting out to do, because there was just no infrastructure in China for making cells back in that era. However, with help from other members of the lab, he was successful, and his work attracted the attention of US investment banks after a couple of years in, operating on a shoestring, who encouraged him to do a management buyout and float on the New York Stock Exchange. And that turns out to be a turning point for the whole solar industry, and one of the reasons we now have very cheap solar cells. So when he floated on the New York Stock Exchange in 2005, he was the first private company in China to do that, but it was an enormous success. It was the biggest technology float of 2005, and we actually had 5 Australians there up on the dais ringing the bell for the opening of the exchange. So probably the first time that's ever happened for the biggest technology float of the year. Anyhow, that was really critical, because not only was it great for Zhengrong, he became overnight the first solar billionaire, but it also encouraged other Chinese companies to follow in his path, and other US venture capitalist firms to prepare these companies for listing on the US exchanges. So from 2005 to 2008, when the global financial crisis hit and took all the fun out of it, there were 9 Chinese companies that listed on the US exchanges. And 6 of those 9 remain in the top 10 manufacturers of solar worldwide. So, this was clearly the turning point in building up the present industry. I'm proud to say that 5 of those 6 had my former students either as founders of those companies or in the most senior technical position, such as Chief Technical Officer. So these companies were highly cashed up. They raised $7 billion between them from the US exchanges, and then they had to compete with each other for market share. So the end result was that prices dropped very rapidly. In over a period of a couple of years, the prices went down to a fraction of their original price. So from 2008 to 2020, the wholesale price of a solar panel reduced by a factor of 24. So initially the push came from this technology, and then subsequently came from the uptake of the PERC cell. So since 2016, the cost reductions from PERC cell uptake have amplified those from these earlier initiatives of my former students. So, as I said, I'm very proud to accept induction into the Hall of Fame and to have the contributions of myself and my team to turning solar cell from an exotic technology useful only for spacecraft into something that's very practical and now regarded by authorities such as the International Energy Agency as the lowest cost of generating electricity, and with further cost reductions to come further down the track. So thank you very much.